what better place to prepare food than right here at home? At the University of South Florida, each residence hall is equipped with a full kitchen, where you can whip up any meal you wish. This is great for if you have a craving for your favorite family recipe. But before you dig in, make sure you bring the food back to your room. Now if cooking's not your thing, don't worry, we got you covered. USF Dining offers plenty of options for students looking to grab a bite to eat. The Hub and Juniper Dining both offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner in an all-you-care-to-eat setting. There's something for everybody. Just use one of your meal swipes or pay with cash, Bullbucks, or dining dollars. You can also use a meal swipe at Flip Kitchen over in Argos Exchange. Here, you can choose from different rotating menu flips, which offer various options, including grilled flatbreads, salads, rice bowls, artisan pizzas, and gourmet mac and cheese. Residents living in Pinnacle Hall will be just steps away from Starbucks, located on the first floor. Craving an espresso or a smoothie? You can head right over to the walk-up window on your way to class. The Marshall Student Center, located in the heart of campus, has the widest variety of dining options. At the food court, you can choose between Panda Express, Moe's Southwest Grill, and 813 Eats. A short walk away in the MSC Atrium, Panera Bread is serving up sandwiches, soups, bowls, and lattes. In addition, if you're in the mood for chicken sandwiches or sushi, Chick-fil-A and Bento are located over in the MSC Bullpen. Want to stock up on food? The Pod Market in Juniper Hall has plenty of drinks and snacks to choose from. Over in the Argos Center, the Bulls Express convenience store has a similar lineup of grab-and-go items, along with an extensive organic coffee menu available at Bay Coffee and Tea Company. And if you have morning classes in the USF Medical Complex, head over to the Morsani Center for a fresh-made bagel from Einstein Brothers or a quick snack from the Pod Express. There are plenty of options to choose from, but when you're done with classes for the day, it's always nice to grab some fruits or a sub from the on-campus Publix, sit outside on the lawn, and watch the sunset. Get ready to live the Bulls life.
Coming to you from the beautiful University of South Florida campus in Tampa, it's USF Housing Live!
Welcome everyone, this is USF Housing Live. I'm your host, Julia O'Hara with Housing and Residential Education at the beautiful University of South Florida in Tampa. Housing and Residential Education is here to answer your questions as you prepare for college. If you're joining us live, type your questions in the comments and we will answer you in real time. Tonight is the season finale of Housing Live, and we'll be talking all about dining options on campus, as well as the fall 2021 move-in process. So let's get started with our first guest this evening, Jessica Cicalese, the Director of Marketing and Communications with USF Dining Services. Hi, Jessica, how are you?
Hi, Julia. I'm doing well. How are you?
Great, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us this evening. And we're ready to get into some questions if you are.
Absolutely.
Great. Okay, so to start off, can you tell us about who you are and what you do here at USF?
Yeah, I am Jessica Cicalese, and I am the Marketing and Communications Director for USF Dining. I am also a proud USF Bull, and I've been a part of the USF Dining family for, it'll be about 7 years, and it's been great.
Awesome. So this is our 7th season of Housing Live, Jessica. So does that mean that you've been on this show 7 years in a row?
I think so.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you back. And we'll kick off the dining questions talking about just general, what is the dining experience like here at USF?
The dining experience is a lot more than just having a meal plan. It is a way of life. It is part of the USF culture. It provides our USF students a way to hang out with their friends, and while they eat, while they study. We offer a variety of meal plans and a variety of locations across the USF Tampa campus and the USF St. Petersburg campus. So there's really something for everybody.
And we'll get into a little bit more detail about what those options are, but let's talk about meal plans, because I know there are a lot of questions come in about that, and we're coming up on the fall semester very soon. So can you talk about how meal plans work?
Absolutely. There are a variety of meal plans. We offer an unlimited style meal plan, an any 15 meal plan, which is a weekly plan, 15 meals a week. And then we offer block plans. So you get a certain amount of meals. That's why we call them block for the semester. So you have two parts to the meal plan. You have your meal swipes and you have dining dollars. So there's two components, and your meal swipes are what get students into the residential dining halls on our campuses. And then the dining dollars attached to your meal plan are also, they can be used at any of our dining locations across campus.
And we have a question from an audience member. Will all the options be open this year?
Great question. We are happy to announce that yes, so they will all be back this fall.
Great, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
And so going back to meal swipe and dining dollars, what is the difference between those two, the meal swipe and the dining dollars?
Yeah, so our meal swipes are what get you into our residential dining hall. So on the Tampa campus, we have the Hub and Juniper Dining, and on the St. Petersburg campus, we have the new dining hall, the Nest. So the meal swipes are and the dining dollars are uploaded onto your USF ID card, and that is what you use to swipe into the dining hall. And then your dining dollars are also uploaded onto your USF ID card, and those can be used like cash at any of our USF dining locations on both the USF Tampa and St. Petersburg campus. And it's a neat amenity because you can use both. You can use a meal plan on both campuses.
That is awesome. And Allison asks a question Lauren is asking a question that I believe you just answered. Can dining plan meal swipes be used at restaurants in the student center? Can you clarify if a meal swipe can be used there or if that's just for dining dollars?
So in the student center, those would just be the dining dollars. We do have a concept called Argos Exchange, and inside of there is, it's kind of like a mini food hall. We have our flip kitchen concept and restaurant rotation concept, as well as local organic Bay Coffee and Tea Company. You are allowed to use a meal swipe, one per day at that concept, and this is a new snippet that I can share with you all, but we will be opening our second flip kitchen at the Juniper complex this fall, so you can also use your one meal swipe at that new flip kitchen.
How exciting. You heard it here first, folks, on Housing Live. And so how many swipes and dining dollars do students have per semester based on the plan that they do have?
So we do offer a variety of plans, so that's going to differ and change which plan that you have. Our unlimited plan is our most popular plan because you have unlimited swipes into the dining hall. You don't have to really worry about counting your meal swipes. You can just, run in for a beverage or a piece of fruit. We have weekly plans, as I mentioned. The NE 15 plan gives you 15 meal swipes into our dining halls per week. And then our block plans range from different levels, and that's the amount. So say we have a block 175, you would have 175 meal swipes per the semester, and then your dining dollars are also a separate component of each of those plans.
And Pariah is asking a question about those unlimited meal plans. So does that mean that, for example, you can get as many coffees as you want from Starbucks per day, or would there be a limit on that?
Not from Starbucks, but we do have a coffee bar at the Hub. So those unlimited meal swipes will be allowed to, you can use them at the Hub and Juniper on the Tampa campus. So they're used in our residential dining hall locations. But we do have a really awesome coffee bar in the Hub, so you can get unlimited iced coffee or hot coffee.
Great. And another question that we got was, how do we confirm if the meal plan we choose was added? Do we look at Archivum or Oasis?
Yes, you can. You can look at the charge that is uploaded onto your Oasis balance, and that will have the meal plan that you selected. Or you can also reach out to the meal plan office. You can email us at dining@usf.edu, and we will get right back to you with what meal plan you selected.
Thank you. And Kristen's asking, if a student chooses not to select a meal plan, can they use cash at any of these locations?
Yes, we do accept the door rate, and those are posted at every location. So if you don't have a meal plan, yes, you could still dine in with your friends.
And I know I appreciate that as an employee, that I can go over to Argos Exchange and buy something, with a card or cash, even though I'm not a student with a meal plan. So that is a great option.
Absolutely.
And Christine is asking, can you downgrade your meal plan during the semester?
You do have the option to downgrade your meal plan during the first week of class only. So the first 5 days of the semester, so starting on August 23rd and through that Friday, you would come visit us in the meal plan office, which is located in the Marshall Student Center on the first floor in room 1502.
All right. We're getting some great questions from the audience. Thank you everyone for joining us. Some really good questions. One viewer is asking, can students take the food to their rooms? Do students have to buy the takeout container to get the to-go option?
Great question, and I'm really excited about our new to-go policy with the OZ platform. So it isn't that they purchase the to-go container. It's more of a deposit that they would get back at the end of the semester. So as a new student, they would come in and say they would want their meal to go, and our cashier will give them a brand new to-go box, and we would take $5 dining dollars from their account as a deposit to opt into our reusable to-go program. And then once they come back to the dining hall, they would return their container into our OZ machine. It's kind of like a library book process. Each to-go box has a barcode on it, so we can track those boxes. And then they would get a token dispensed from that machine that they would bring to the cashier and get a new box that time they come back. So it's a brand new program that we're going to be rolling out this fall. And then at the end of the semester, that last week of classes, they can come back to the cashier that they went and got their to-go box and get refunded those $5 dining dollars.
Neat. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And then just a clarifying question before we jump back into some more questions I have prepared for you about dietary restrictions and that sort of thing. Kamala is asking, if you do have a limited number of swipe meal plan, is there an amount that you cannot go over per swipe? So, for example, you go into the dining hall, it's all you care to eat for that particular swipe. Is that correct?
Yes, it's all you care to eat for that. It's like a cruise ship. Like you would swipe in and then it's all you care to eat. So they wouldn't really need to swipe multiple times.
All right. And I'm going to ask a couple more questions, actually, because they are coming in about that topic. Yeah. Another clarifying question is, if a student uses a swipe just to grab a soda, does that count as a full meal swipe?
It does. And that's where I go back. Our most popular plan is the open access, the unlimited plan, because you don't have to worry that, counting your meal swipes, because you can just go in, swipe, get a soda, and head to class, and not have to worry about counting your meals.
Great. And two more topics that we did talk about already that for those that are just joining us, I'm going to give us a refresher here. Now that it's one USF, you can use meal plans across campuses. Is that correct? So a Tampa student can use a meal plan if they are visiting the St. Pete campus. You did say that is the case, so that's really exciting news.
Yep.
And then also, Darren is asking about Champion's Choice. They heard that it was closed over the fall-spring semester last year. Will it be reopened for this fall and spring for those who are coming to campus?
Champion's Choice, or CHAMPS that we call it, it will actually be available for certain meal periods and certain meal plans. So if you are interested in dining at Champion's Choice, definitely head to our website. It's usfdining.com and click on meal plans, and you can learn about the different meal plans that will allow access to Champion's Choice.
Great. So let's jump back into the questions that I had prepared for you. And if you're watching, if you're joining us online, keep the questions coming. We'll go back to the audience questions throughout the broadcast. But one I had prepared for you, Jessica, are options for students that are living off campus. So what are some popular meal plan choices that students that don't live in the residence halls often look at?
We offer a variety of commuter meal plans. One of the most popular and they would be block plans. So that in that version, one of our most popular commuter plans is our home chef meal plan. So that allows you to select up to 12 meals with Home Chef, the meal program that gets delivered right to your door. So you can learn how to cook or learn how to cook some new exciting recipes right at home. So that is our Bull Block 32 plus Home Chef meal plan. So if you see that on our website, all you have to do is select that option. That's our most popular commuter plan. However, our Bull Block 60 is also another popular commuter plan because it offers a larger amount of dining dollars. So a lot of students that are commuting, definitely love to go to Starbucks or Chick-fil-A, Panera, where they can use those dining dollars. So that one is also another popular plan.
Great, thank you. And going back to the to-go policy, we do have a question from an audience member. Are you only allowed to take as much food as the to-go box holds? What if you want more food? Last year we could take as much as a bag could hold, so a few boxes. So can you talk a little bit about the process for this upcoming fall?
Absolutely. And last year was a bit of an anomaly. It was definitely a lot of changes. This year we are going to down a more sustainable route and eliminating those containers, plastic bags, plastic cups, and we are going to utilize the OZ program. We do have an option of a bowl and a box. And yes, again, it's that deposit, but you get that back. So it is whatever you can fit in that. It's a very large container and the bowl, and however you can close it, that's what you can take out. And you can also take whole fruit out with you as well.
Great. So let's jump into, we got some questions from the audience about this topic that I've been holding off until I get to my question here. What options exist for students with special dietary restrictions?
It's a great question. And myself, I am a registered dietitian, and then we also have a consulting registered dietitian. Her name is Karina Falcone. Her information is located on our website, usfdining.com, under health and wellness. And she is available as an amenity to the meal plan. So she's exclusive to only meal plan holders. It's a free one-on-one consultation that any meal plan holder can have, and as many times throughout the semester as well. So definitely I would start there first if you have any food allergies or special dietary restrictions by contacting Karina or myself. And then at each of our dining locations, specifically our dining halls, we have a allergen zone kitchen. So it's called True Balance, and it's free of the top 8 allergens most common in the U.S. And we are renovating Juniper Dining, which is exciting. So you'll see a new Juniper Dining hall at the start of fall, and they will also have an allergen free concept called Clean Plate. And in St. Petersburg, we also have a True Balance. So there's that safety net in the dining halls, having that freeness of not having cross-contamination. But if you're struggling with your meal plan, feel free to contact us, and we would be happy to walk the stations with you to see how we can best match your dietary restrictions with how to use your meal plan.
Great. Thank you, Jessica. And we have a comment here from Sarah, who's watching, saying, as a parent of someone that has a severe tree nut allergy, I was very pleased with the attention to her needs last year. So thank you for that.
Thank you. It's great to hear. I'm proud that we could help.
Absolutely. So we do have some more questions specifically about payment. So that is my next topic. So we are back at my list, and let's see, how do students pay for their meal plan?
Great question. So your meal plan charge will be uploaded onto your Oasis account, and how you would pay for tuition, how you would pay for your books is how you would pay for your meal plan right through Oasis.
And so one of the questions we do have right now is, where on Oasis do we go to purchase our meal plan? So that's not specifically where you go to select, but where you go to pay, correct? Can you talk about the different processes that are involved in picking and then paying?
Absolutely. So you would select your meal plan through the housing application or on our website, usfdining.com. It'll say Fall 2021 meal plans. You would go and select the meal plan of your choice on there. There's no money down at that moment. It would get uploaded to your Oasis account where you can pay. Payment is due on the Friday of the first week of classes. So I believe it's the 27th, Friday the 27th. And then if you use financial aid or scholarship money, you do have a deferment till October to pay for the full balance of your meal plan.
And you just set me up perfectly for my next question, Jessica, is can students use financial aid to pay for their meal plans?
Yes, you can. So any financial aid scholarship money that you do have can be used towards the meal plan. And just like as you would apply that to housing, tuition, books, you can apply that towards the meal plan.
And Lauren, who's watching, is asking, how can we check how many dining dollars we have left for the semester?
Great question. There's a few different ways. You can go on to Canvas and select the Bull Bucks option, and they will also have your dining dollar balance there as well. You can, at any of our locations, get a receipt and your dining dollar balance will be on there, or you can come visit us in the meal plan office and we can look that up for you as well.
Perfect. We have a few questions that are the same question worded in different ways, and we went over a little bit in the beginning, but can you talk about where you can use, specifically where you can use Bull Bucks on campus?
Yeah, so you can use Bull Bucks pretty much anywhere. You can use it for laundry, you can use it for printing at the bookstore, and you can use it for dining on campus as well. At any of the dining locations, we do accept Bull Bucks. And you can also use it for campus vending.
And what is the difference between Bull Bucks and dining dollars?
It's a good question. So dining dollars offer a bit more of a discount, and so that's why we're always saying make sure you get your dining dollars, but the dining dollars come with the meal plan as well. So that's obviously when you have a meal plan, you have dining dollars. So we encourage students to purchase Bull Bucks and dining dollars to take advantage of those discounts at our dining locations. But the biggest difference would be dining dollars are for food. A lot of students use that to budget their food budgeting, and for Bull Bucks, they would use it for all of the other amenities on campus.
And Pariah is asking where dining dollars can be used and if it's a total of $200 for the unlimited meal plan during one semester.
That is correct. So with the unlimited meal plan, you get 200 dining dollars, and those can be used at any dining location on both the Tampa and the St. Petersburg campus.
Great. And I think that we've gotten through a big chunk of the audience questions. So my next question for you is, when do meal plans activate for the fall semester?
Great question. So the meal plans for fall activate on August 19th, and that is when both the Hub and Juniper Dining will be open, and as well, that's on the Tampa campus, and the Nest will be open on the St. Petersburg campus.
And we're next speaking with Dr. Andy Johnson, who you know is part of the Housing and Residential Education team. So we're going to be talking all about the move-in process. And part of the move-in process, we are offering the ability to arrive early before the 19th. If someone is planning on having a meal plan, what are going to be the dining options for someone arriving early?
Great question. So every year we offer an early arrival meal plan, and so we are offering that again. And you can now go on our website under the meal plan options and see early arrival meal plans. We offer for both Tampa and the St. Pete campus, and that would start on August 15th. So we know that students are starting to move in on starting August 15th. So the Hub will be open for service, and the Nest will be open on the St. Pete campus.
Great, thank you. And my last question for you, Jessica, is where can viewers find more information about the different dining locations on campus?
Great question, and I've mentioned it several times. Our website is the best resource for all things dining, usfdining.com. Everything from hours of operation, our dining map to see where all the locations are on both campuses, all of our meal plan information. We have a great tab that's called Orientation. So if you are new to USF, definitely check out that tab. It has everything you need to know about USF Dining on there. And then also follow us on social media. We post some great promotions, free food options, and just great events that we host every day at our dining locations.
You always have something going on. Love seeing all of that on the dining social media channels. I did say it was the last question, but I have one more from the audience that I'm going to sneak in here before we end tonight. Will dining dollars roll over through semesters if you don't use them?
So dining dollars will roll over from fall to spring if you are on a meal plan. So anyone who selects a meal plan for fall and has a meal plan again in the spring, their dining dollars will roll over. Dining dollars do not roll over into the summer semesters.
Or from summer to fall, I'm assuming?
Correct.
Between those, okay. All right, well, thank you for clarifying that. And Jessica, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
All right, have a great night.
You too, thank you.
It's time for us to take a short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more USF Housing Live right after this.
Welcome to the University of South Florida. I'm Anna Hernandez, Assistant Vice President of Housing and Residential Education. We are so excited that you've chosen to live the Bulls life here at USF. Our team is eager to welcome you to campus, your home away from home. The university continues to be committed to supporting a safe and healthy environment on campus. As always, it's a community effort. The future is bright and there is so much ahead for you at USF. As an on-campus resident, you will have access to a multitude of resources, including your resident assistant, residence life coordinator, hall council, events, programs, and opportunities to make friends. We are here to support your academic and personal success. Our essential housekeeping staff and maintenance technicians continue to prioritize the health and safety of our residents. In addition, the Housing Assignments Office is available throughout the year to assist you with any questions you may have. They can be reached by phone or email, or you can schedule a bullpen booking appointment ahead of time to speak with a housing representative. Visit our website at usf.edu/housing to learn more about the on-campus experience and all that is available to you as part of the on-campus community. Be sure to visit the fall move-in page for all the details to plan your arrival to campus. We look forward to supporting you as you reach your full potential this semester. Thank you for choosing USF. Get ready to live the Bulls life. Go Bulls!
Welcome back. I'm Julia O'Hara, and if you're just now joining us, this is USF Housing Live, and we're here to help prepare you to live the Bulls life at USF. So ask us your questions in the comments, and we will answer you live on the show. Our second guest this evening is the Director for Operations and Outreach with USF Housing and Residential Education, Dr. Andy Johnson. Hi, Andy. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Julia. How are you doing today?
I am great. I am so ready to talk all about move-in. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I've been ready.
Yes, I know. Thank you for taking the time to do this tonight. I know that we have a lot of questions to get through. So if you're joining us tonight, please send in your questions wherever you're watching, and we'll do our best to cover everything. If we don't get to your question tonight, you can definitely call or email us at any time, and we'll be able to give you individualized assistance. So without further ado, let's jump in, Andy, so we can get through as many as we can tonight.
Sounds good. I brought extra water to make sure I was
smart,
ready to talk a lot.
Smart. Yeah, we're going to ask you a lot of questions, so good thinking ahead. So to start, let's for those who haven't met you before or seen you on our show, can you tell us a little bit about what you do here at USF?
So I do a lot of things, but I think one of my greatest things I get to do on campus is I get to work with such an amazing, talented team in housing and residential education, such as yourself, every single day to work with our students. So I get to lead the marketing communications for housing, all of our occupancy management. So when you call 0001 or you email us at housing@USF, that's my team that gets to help you through whatever your concerns or questions are. And then also the housing services component. So we have our service desks and our mail centers, our conferences, that come in the summertime, as well as all of the technology in the residence halls, and then kind of our assessments, right? All the things that we do to make sure that we're being, better year after year after year. So
just a little busy, just a little bit going on.
I have a great team. So
awesome. Well, we love working with you. So let's talk about, before we jump into the move-in process, let's talk about current availability on campus. We're so excited to go into this semester, and a lot of people want to live on campus with us, which is great. But let's talk about current options for those who may not have selected a room yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so just a little bit from last year, obviously last year was a huge anomaly, and we were dealing with a lot of things, personally as people, not just as housing. And so, we had a lot of availability last year. That is not quite the case this year. We are nearly full. So as we are making our final assignments for our folks, one of the things that I would really like to encourage students to do, if you have not received your assignment, and you can check that in the housing portal, is to please make sure that you update your preferences as broadly as possible so that we can get you assigned. So putting things, very specific, like I'd like to have a suite single, or I need a 2-bedroom apartment. Those are things that we no longer have available in our inventory, and so that may hold up your assignment process. But if you were to tell us, I would just like a suite, or I would like a suite in the Village, or in Maple, or in Juniper or Poplar, we may be able to navigate that a little differently. But if you can just be as broad as possible for those who have not selected or preferenced or have received their assignment yet but still need a room, be as broad as possible. I'd like to live in a traditional style. I'd like to live in a suite. I'd like to live in an apartment, and we're going to do our best to find you a place.
Perfect. Thank you for that context.
Yes, it's very, very important that you preference, right? And if you don't know what kind of preference you want, that's okay, right? If you're just happy with any kind of assignment, any kind of place on campus, that's okay. If you give us a call or you email us, we will actually tell you what is available and walk you through how we can get you into that space. So
great advice.
We're here to serve. We're here to serve.
Absolutely. So we have a lot of detailed questions about certain things, that what's allowed in the rooms and so on and so forth. First, what I'm going to do is just go over the overview with you, and then if we have time at the end, we can go through some of these more detailed questions. But I just wanted to let everyone know who's watching. Feel free to continue to send in these questions. We're going to go over the broader overview questions first, and then get to these at the end if we have time.
Okay.
So let's start off by talking about the move-in dates and the different options for folks.
Yeah, absolutely. So our move-in dates for early arrival will be August the 15th through August the 18th. Our housing agreement starts on August 19th, and that is also the first day of grand opening. In the past, we've had a 1-day grand opening experience. We're going to be having a 2-day grand opening experience this year. So that will be the 19th and the 20th of August. If it is that you have already signed up for a registration slot of when you would like to move in, that is great. That is required of all students. We need you to go into your housing portal and choose a date that works best for you and your family. If it is that you decide that you'd like to do early arrival, there is a fee associated with that. Again, those dates are August the 15th through August the 18th, and it's based on a nightly rate of your fall assignment. If you're ready, you want to get geared up and move in on a grand opening day, that is going to be there's no additional charge for that because that's when the agreement starts. But we do need you to go in and select your date and your time slot, right? So, and we have nice big broad time slots so that we can help folks, pick a time that works for them, because we know that everybody has a little different needs or have different support mechanisms, and so we want to be as flexible as possible.
Andy, I'm going to jump in with a question really quick there that has to do with that time slot. So someone's asking from the audience, I know we have to select a time and date to move in. Do we only get exactly an hour to come, unpack and go? or is it okay to be earlier than the selected time and stay a bit after? So it sounds like this audience member might be referring to the way that it was last year when we were adhering to COVID protocol, where you had 1 hour to complete it. But can you talk about the difference really quick to make that clarification with this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a really great question. So in this year, we still want to make sure that we are being respectful bulls, that we aren't crowding lobbies and crowding elevators and stairwells and parking lots and things like that. And so what I would ask is that you arrive on time for your check-in. Go ahead, unpack your belongings, and go ahead and get moved in as quickly as possible. If it is that you have brought a vehicle and your vehicle is in an R parking lot, then that vehicle is okay to stay as long as it's not in an unloading zone space. If a family member or a friend has brought their vehicle, then we would just kindly ask them to move it to just a little bit of ways. And we have a number of different parking lots that they can park in. So I guess my guidance on that question is just go ahead and do what you need to do as quickly as you can, so that way we can move folks in as quickly and as efficiently as possible, and everybody has a good experience. So to answer your question, no, we don't have the tight 1 to 2 hour time limit like we did last year, but we still want to be safe, respectful bulls to each other and to our community.
Thanks, Andy. And now you were talking about grand opening, so the time slots that are available there. And then we also have 2 additional options for dates, but that comes with a warning from us too. So do you want to talk a little bit about that for the weekend?
It does. Let me give one other comment on the time slots. So one of the things that I need everybody to be mindful of is that while we have time slots, and everybody has good intentions of showing up in those time slots, we also know that people are arriving by plane, train, and long distance, and may have a variety of different circumstances that may come up that may hinder them from arriving on time. Last year we had a few people that their cars broke down. We've had travel delays, things like that. That is okay. We will, when we are closed in our time slots, then we will shift our check-in operation over to our service desks, which will be in the Hub, Holly M, and Juniper Poplar. But we cannot check anybody in after 11 p.m. So if it is that you get delayed and your plane doesn't arrive until 11 p.m., which means you still got to get through baggage claim, you still got to get a ride to campus, it is best that you find an off-campus or an alternative accommodation for the evening and then check in with us at 8 a.m. the next morning. And so our hours at the service desk will be 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. And so I just want to make sure that people are aware of that we want to be as accommodating as possible, but I can't check folks in when I don't have an open desk. So you will need to find some alternative accommodations for that evening, but we will be more than happy to welcome you into the community first thing the next day. So you asked the second part of that question. So USF has their summer commencement on Saturday, August 21st and 22nd, Sunday the 22nd. Campus will be incredibly packed with visitors, with graduates. So we are really encouraging everyone to show up no later than Friday. However, we understand that that you may need to have alternative arrangements to show up on Saturday and Sunday. If that is the case, then what we're going to ask is you to submit a late arrival form so that we know when you are arriving. So it's the same time slots, but on the Saturday and the Sunday. This is a change from this past year, from years previous, excuse me. And so we have been in close communication with our partners over in the Commencement office and sharing out information. But as we start talking a little bit more about the map, I know we have some questions that will come up and we'll work through the map a little bit. I'm going to show some areas that if you do have to arrive on Saturday and Sunday, to stay away from, or otherwise you'll get trapped up in that commencement traffic. But it is our recommendation that you arrive before on or before Friday.
Absolutely. So, like you said, Andy, we're going to pull up the move-in map, which is available on the website right now. So if you do go to our fall move-in page, you can look at this map that we're about to show you in a couple of minutes to look at where your designated service desk is for check-in if you're coming before grand opening, where you would go for grand opening, and then where you park no matter when you're coming. So it's a really valuable resource that we're going to show you in a minute. But before we get to the actual move-in process, let's talk a little bit about preparing for that. So what do students and families need to do before they arrive to campus for their move-in?
Yeah, great question. So we do our best to make sure that we provide you with substantial information about the move-in process, about getting your experience started on the right foot for the upcoming year. And so what I would encourage you to do is to visit our move-in webpage. It is full of information on how to get your roommate conversation started. If you have a roommate for this upcoming year, it is a great resource on what to bring, what not to bring. And so really want to make sure that you review that thoroughly. The other piece of literature that I think we've already sent this out, Julia, right, is our move-in mailer. And so our move-in mailer will have a copy of our map, but it will also have a lot of information that I encourage you to review before you even start packing and making the journey down here or up here, depending on where you're from. So I think those are a couple of pieces that I would start with. And I think one of the most important things to the college experience is the roommate experience. If you have a roommate or apartment mates or suite mates for the upcoming year, making sure that you reach out to them in advance. We're a digital age. You can pretty much find anybody on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or any other social media platform. And so reach out to them, introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit about yourself. What are your likes and your dislikes, and have a very open conversation, because setting that up from the start will have a very productive year and relationship. And I can't stress the importance enough of having good relationships with your roommates. Multiple roommates of mine were best men or groomsmen were groomsmen in my wedding. So they're lifelong friendships.
Absolutely. And we talk about this all the time on this show about how you form those friendships with people that you meet on campus. And, I can say the same, that I have many close friends still that I lived with. So it's definitely important to get ahead of that relationship building and reach out. Two things that I did want to mention about the getting ready process are IDs and bed height. So let's go ahead and talk about those now before we jump into the map, so we don't have to go back and forth. Can you talk about the process of requesting your student ID and requesting the height of your bed?
Yeah, so your student ID is incredibly important. So if you have not submitted your request for a student ID, you can use My Bowls Path. You can go to myusf.edu, or you can go directly to the ID card office webpage, and they have a link on there as well. But your ID card has to be requested in advance, because they need to print them in advance. You'll submit a photo, and they have very specific, almost passport dimensions and specifications that they'll give you to submit a photo, and then they will go ahead and get it billed to your Oasis account, and then get it printed and ready for you on your day of arrival. So I encourage you to do it now. We've had some people that last year that did not do it in a timely manner, and then they had to wait until it got printed and then brought over, and then they could get checked in. And we don't want that for you. We want you to do it now, so that way it's all set and ready to go. But your ID is going to be your everything. You just heard Jessica Cicalese talking about swiping into the dining halls, or using it for dining dollars or bull bucks. Those things are going to be very important. But the most important thing is on move-in day is that you will not be able to swipe into your building. All of our buildings are secured with swipe cards, and so you have to have your ID in order to enter the building. So super important. So again, I would encourage you to submit all of the requirements in advance, like today or tomorrow.
Right
no
now.
later but yeah, right now. So there was that one. And what was the other one, Julia?
I asked about bed height, but I do want to ask a follow-up to student IDs, and then we'll get to the bed height.
Sure.
For picking up your student ID the day of, so they're not going to be mailed to the student. They will pick it up when they move in, and we will have information about where that will be on our website by next week. So we're still working through those details. I wanted to let everyone know that's watching, though, that you will pick up your student ID when you move in, and that location is going to be announced soon. But ordering it ahead of time is definitely a must.
Yes, and there is an activation process, just like with a credit card or a debit card. And so you will need to log in and activate it upon receiving it. So that's very important. So, but yeah, we are finalizing the details with our partners over in the ID card office. So we'll make that announcement hopefully next week.
Perfect. So let's talk bed height request. Do you need to submit a bed height request, and how do you submit a bed height request?
Yeah, absolutely. So our beds come in a couple of different heights. And we really want the space to be customizable to you because you're going to be living there for the next 9 months, right? And so we offer the opportunity for you to submit a change in height request in advance of your arrival. And so you would simply just go to our website. It's usf.edu/housing, and then click on submit a maintenance request. You'll go ahead and log in with your net ID and your password, and then you'll see the icon there that says change your height. I believe that we have some literature on the website. Is that correct, Julia, about the 3 different height levels?
Yep, we have pictures of every single bed height, depending on the different style of room that you're in. So you can actually see it visually where you want it to be. So the height of your bed is going to be at the height of where the person living in that space had it before you. So it's not mandatory that you select a height, but if you want to go on the website and take a look at it, and if you have a particular vision for how you want your bed to look or what height it would be, we do suggest that you do it, make that request now, because in the beginning of the fall term, the maintenance request system, we receive a lot of those bed height requests. So if you do change your mind when you get here, it might take a little while for it to be done. We do not want you to be doing it by yourself, because could be a dangerous process for someone that attempts to raise or lower the bed by themselves. So don't try to do it. We'll have our maintenance staff do it for you, but you'll want to submit that request as soon as possible if you'd like it ready for your arrival.
Yeah, I believe we do somewhere around 1,500 bed adjustments at the start of each term. It's quite a few. So yes.
But it's really cool, because if you go on our website, you can see that you can fit your dresser under the bed, and there's also, or if you want it up really high, if you'd rather it be lower, there's lots of different options. So definitely go on the website to the maintenance request webpage, and you can check it out from there.
Yep.
So I think we covered everything to do beforehand. You did mention that on the fall move-in page, we do have a checklist at the bottom for things that you should be doing before you arrive. One of those links to the items to bring and what not to bring. I think you touched on it briefly, but that's really important for just things that you might not realize that aren't permitted in the residence hall, and then things that we highly recommend that you do bring.
Yeah, and one of the things with that is when, and this is connecting back to the roommates, is talking to your roommates about who's bringing what, right? Do both roommates need a large TV or a large refrigerator? Those kinds of things are conversations you should be having with your roommate before you arrive or before you purchase something. So
exactly.
Thinking through that a little bit. So
right, because you want to utilize the space as much as possible. You don't need too many fridges in the room if you're okay sharing one.
Right.
Great. Okay. So the last question before we open up that beautiful map and get to work on going through it for everyone watching is talking about that move-in appointment time slot. So if you have decided to come on Friday but realize that you can't make it work for Friday and want to move it to Thursday, can you change your move-in appointment? And how do you do that?
Yes, the housing portal is the gateway for all things housing. So if it is that you need to change your appointment, you just log back into the housing portal and submit a new request. If it is that you have any issues or you have any concerns or you just have general questions, you can always reach out to us through a bullpen booking or through our phone number or through our email address. And so either of those three mechanisms, and we will help walk you through the process. But all roads lead to the housing portal.
Wonderful. And that's linked on our main page there, a straight link to access that. A question that I did want to mention now before we do get into the map is about Bull Hall. So a particular question is, when is move-in for students who volunteered to help their peers move in? Because it's a little earlier. That is the 15th, that's Sunday. We did talk about if you arrive early that you'll have to pay the nightly rate of the room for Bull Hall. That does not apply to those volunteers. One of the perks of volunteering in the Bull Hall program is that the nightly rate of the early arrival fees are waived as long as you attend the shift. It will be placed on the account at first, so you may see that early arrival fee on the account, but once you show up to your shift, we take that off and the fee goes away. So Sunday, August 15th, you still need to submit an early arrival request and select when you'd like to arrive, but those fees will be waived the week following grand opening, I believe. All right, so let's talk about the map. Would you like to share your screen, Andy? And we can talk about the move-in process?
Like Dora the Explorer.
Yeah.
So it's the map.
There you go. I was hoping you'd sing for us.
I need some interest music, right? So this is the map that is on the back of the move-in mailer. This is, as Julia said, this is what is on our website as well. And so you will see different unloading zones highlighted in yellow. These are throughout the campus. And so we are going to talk about that in just one quick second. But what I wanted to talk about is, how do you get to your check-in location and what check-in location services which areas? And so as I mentioned a little bit before, the Fletcher Avenue is a main road for us, and Bruce B. Downs is a main road for us. And so really what we're going to encourage folks to do is to use those two roads to come into the campus. And so they literally, USF is literally a rectangle. It's an 850 acre rectangle. And so if it is that you see Fletcher, Bruce B. Downs is not far away. 50th Street's not far away. Fowler's not far away. But really want everybody to come in through Fletcher and through Bruce B. Downs. And so let's talk about this area right here. This is one of our check-in areas. This is Cypress E, and Cypress E services the Cypress community, which is I don't know if you can see my cursor or not. Can you see my cursor?
I see your cursor, but Andy, if you could zoom in a little bit, I think that would be perfect. Yeah, that's a lot better. Just
wanted to give a little bit of context first. So RCA, RCC, and RCD will all check in here in Cypress E. And so there will be some unloading here in lot 25, and there will be some unloading spaces here in lot 56.
And for clarification for those watching, that specifically we're talking about that Thursday and Friday. So this is the process if you're arriving for those days that we're calling grand opening. Just wanted to throw that out there in case anyone's joining us right now.
Correct. I got so excited I went right to Thursday and Friday. Yes. So let's focus on that for just a second. Let's focus on Thursday and Friday. And so we will have staff here to get you checked in. We will also have carts available. Now, keep in mind, carts are limited, so we do encourage folks that if they want a little bit faster moving experience, I would recommend you bring in a dolly or a cart of some sort, but we will have some available on a first come, first served basis throughout the day. And so Cypress E will service, as I said, Cypress C, Cypress D, and Cypress A, which is our Cypress Suites. In this unloading zone will also be spaces for the village to check in. And so that is Beacon Hall, and then Summit, Horizon, Pinnacle, and Endeavor. And their check-in location will be here in Holly L. So as you can see, it's literally a short pathway up to Holly L to get checked in, to have some car, to check out a card if you need it, and then go ahead and move right on into your building. As we move down, whoops, let me see, maybe, let's just do it like that. So as we move kind of to the south side of Holly Drive, right? So our Holly apartments are Holly A, Holly B, Holly C, Holly D, Holly E, and F, and G. Your check-in location will be here in Holly J. So right here in the center of all the action. We have parking in the Crescent Hill garage, but you can also, for an unloading zone, so 30 minutes or less, right? So really, on Holly Drive, you're just getting your stuff out of your car, and then you'll need to move it. You can park on the furthest outside lane, right? So this is a 4-lane road. So literally you're talking about the farthest northern lane and the farthest southern lane here. Okay. There is no parking here in this lot right here. So once you unload, then we encourage you to go ahead and move your car up here to lot 35 or down to Crescent Hill parking garage. To go ahead and kind of permanently put your car into one of those spots. So as we move further south, our Maple C check-in location will service Maple B, Maple A, Beta, Kosov, and Castor Halls. And so all of the residents in these 5 buildings will check in here in Maple C. Your unloading zones can be 5E, 17A and B, or 5A. I know some people in the past, if you're a returning resident, you are used to maybe coming down here and unloading or loading, depending if it's the end of the year. But Myrtle Drive, we close this off to deliveries only, just because of the danger of the amount of traffic, of foot traffic, so pedestrians walking back and forth, getting moved in. So this will be closed. So you'll need to either turn around in the garage or come down to 5A or 17 or 5E. So I want to pause there and see if there are any questions before I move to the south side of campus. So Julia, do we got any questions?
We are working through some questions, some with some direct responses, but as far as what you're talking about right now, will there be unloading parking signs indicating what slots are those unloading zones?
Yes, there absolutely will be. Julie, I'm going to brag on your team and the amazing signage that they do. We will have signage that will help direct you into various areas throughout campus. We will also have a number of no parking signs, as well as unloading zone signs. We'll also have a number of cones out blocking unloading zones. So please do not touch any of the cones in some of the unloading zones. So yes, lots and lots of signage, and of course we'll have staff around. So if anybody needs anything, just look for a USF or housing staff member, and we will be glad to help you out. So. And
another question, Andy, on the topic now is: are there overnight parking in the parking garages on campus for those that are not students?
So our partners over in Parking and Transportation Services are pretty gracious during our move-in processes. So Yes, there probably will be. You can overnight park for sure. I would probably encourage you just to make sure that you don't get a ticket or anything, that you pay for the overnight space in the Crescent Hill Garage. But as far as, let's say, you're a family member moving your student into Maple A, and you've unloaded, you've moved your car over to lot 35, and maybe you jump in your student's car to go up to Target. Leaving your car in lot 35 for a little bit is completely okay. Because we know that you're still actively, doing something with the move-in process. And so that is definitely okay. I do want to mention a couple of things that are not okay while we're talking about parking in general. And that is going to be areas that you absolutely 110% cannot park in. I know it's very tempting that we've highlighted, Holly Drive here to be an unloading zone. But just as a reminder, Palm Drive and Laurel Drive are not unloading zones. Please do not park there. That is a significant traffic hazard and is very, very dangerous. And our university police will have to take action, or our parking and transportation services folks, if it is there. So please do not park at anything along any spot, any lane along Palm Drive. And I know it's so tempting because Pinnacle's right here and Beacon's right here, but it is absolutely it's very dangerous.
And we'll have signs there too, Andy. So it'll be pretty clear, but it's good to point it out.
I will also say in some of the areas that are in front of our trash receptacle areas, they're nice, big, large pads. Those are for our waste vehicles. And so move-in day creates a lot of waste, and we usually have our vendor come several times through the day to pick up large, amounts of waste to take it away, or recycling to take it away. And so we need to make sure that we keep those areas clear. The other area that I need to just mention, because I know it's very tempting, but is Publix, right? So we are, as far as I know, we are the only campus to have a Publix literally on our property. And Publix is an amazing partner. They hire a lot of students. And we want to be a great partner with them. So what I need to stress to everybody is that Publix parking, which is this lot right here, is for Publix customers only. So if it is that you are actively engaging in business with Publix, then it is okay to park there, right? You're making a grocery run before you go back to the south side of campus, that is okay. But if you're coming to unload your stuff in Beacon Hall, that's not okay. So please respect our partners over in Publix and make sure that that we respect their parking space. So, but as you can see in the map, additional parking, lot 16, lot 43, lots of parking once you're done with the unloading process. So.
And just to point out, one question that we received is parking being free, or if there's any signage or a pass that you need. Like you said earlier, Andy, that parking does allow pretty free access, excluding those locations that you just mentioned, during the move-in process.
But we have one spot, type of spot on campus that is absolutely off limits unless you have the proper permit. What is that, Julia?
That is the ADA space, Andy.
ADA space, that's right. And I know our parents and our families and our residents are very, very excited. And there is a very tempting line here on our south side of campus in front of, on the north side of Juniper Poplar Hall, that literally runs this entire lane next to the building that is all ADA practically. But unless you have a placard in your hanging mirror or on your license plate, please respect the ADA spaces for our guests that actually need those spaces. Those are not unloading zones. So Parking and Transportation Services and UP will actively take action if you're not properly placarded. But so that's my one announcement. At the moment, I'll make that announcement multiple times going forward. But so do you want to talk a little bit about JPH?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So all of our residents who are going to be living in Juniper Poplar or Magnolia, now we're specifically talking to you. And so as you can see, lot 24 and lot 47 have unloading zones, spaces in here so that help you get moved in. And we will be working with our partners over in parking to secure some unloading zone spaces on this first floor of the Beard Garage. But mostly you should really focus that in on additional parking as it's been outlined in green. Again, we have one whole lane that will be secured for unloading. And if you need to move your vehicle to the outside, this will be your area. But what I wanted to see if I could swing over here a little bit, we kind of go off the screen a little bit, but at this corner of Holly Drive and Bruceby Downs, there is a traffic light here. And this is an easy way to access this side of campus. So you can either go north or south on Bruceby Downs and then turn onto USF Holly Drive. And then there's the Moffitt Cancer Center, the Morsani College of Medicine. This is really our health side of campus. But if you turn right down Magnolia Drive, it will bring you right to Juniper Poplar and Magnolia Halls. And so easy way to get in and out. And as you can see, it makes a nice little rectangle. So easy peasy to get to JPH.
And something to point out about JPH now that we're down here, this map indicates where you will check in if you arrive early or late in blue, and then it indicates where you'll arrive during the grand opening process in that red-pink color. So you'll notice that both of them are highlighted on the JPH service desk right here, and that's because no matter when you arrive, whenever your move-in appointment is, you're going to be checking in inside the JPH building. There will be a separate room for check-in if you are coming during grand opening because of the volume of people, but the service desk is also located in here where you will check in if you arrive before or after grand opening. So just wanted to point that out while we're down here. So the parking and the location applies for any date that you arrive if you're living in Magnolia or Juniper Poplar Hall.
Absolutely. So just a quick review on the area, the check-in areas for Sunday through Wednesday, and so as Julia was just talking about, so Holly M is one of our 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. service desk locations, and the hub office is right here at where this little pink dot is. Will be open. Now, the hub is also the dining hall. I think Jessica talked a little bit about how great the food is in there and some of the accommodations. So keep that in mind if you're arriving Sunday, August 15th through Wednesday, August 18th. And if you're need to arrive on Saturday, August 21st and Sunday, August 22nd, that will be in these check-in locations as well.
Yes,
so.
And I just realized, Andy, now that you have your the key up here at the top left, that I said the opposite, that it's highlighted in blue where you check in on that Thursday, Friday. It's highlighted in pink for the service desks, indicating where you'll check in for the Sunday through Wednesday and then Saturday and Sunday. So I mixed that up earlier. Just wanted to get a quick clarification on that. Kamala is asking, is stating that they're not moving in until Saturday, unfortunately. Carts, great question on early and late move-in, will carts be available, and will they be able to pick up their ID card on the weekends as well?
Yes, Kamala, great question. Yes, we will have carts available all weekend long, or we're really the entire time. We will have carts available. And so depending on where you live, you would pick one up in JPH or in Holly M or in the hub. That's where you'll do your checkouts for your carts. Again, as we were talking a little bit about earlier in the program, is that we're still trying to finalize the pickup details with our partners. And so we hope to have that announcement out early next week on where you would pick up your ID cards.
Right.
So,
and then something about...
Sorry,
go ahead, Andy.
Go ahead. I was just saying we really want it to be a nice streamlined process where you don't have to go, all the way over to the SVC building here where the ID card office is. We want it to try to be in our residential zones so that it's much easier and smoother transition into the residence halls. So
great. And then what I was going to say about carts is that if you are arriving early arrival or late arrival, you'll pick those up at your service desk, just like you're checking in. And then if you're arriving for grand opening that Thursday or Friday, your carts will either be available where you're checking in or very close by. And that will be indicated by signage as well. But like you said earlier, Andy, I would highly recommend that if you do have a cart or a dolly of some sort that you can bring, definitely bring that, because we do have a limited supply of carts. Also, if you want to save yourself from waiting in line for a cart, all of that, it's easier access if you do have your own, but we do have those available for those folks that may not have one. Mm-hmm. All right. So,
Julia,
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, do we want to talk a little bit about the Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah. So, in terms of the check-in locations for those dates?
Yeah, so we've already talked a little bit about that you'll go to your service desk areas, but I wanted to talk a little bit about where commencement was being held, and how to avoid getting trapped in that commencement traffic. Yes,
I definitely think we should talk about that, and then I just have two more topics after that I want to go over briefly. I know we're over that one. Okay, I was going to say, I know we're over the hour line, but I want to be able to get to a couple more topics before we wrap for the evening. So let's talk about those folks that are arriving the Saturday and Sunday, the 21st and the 22nd, what to be aware of if you're just now joining us. There is multiple commencement ceremonies happening at the Yingling Center throughout both of those days. So we highly suggest that you arrive earlier if possible. If not possible, Andy's going to go over exactly what to look out for traffic-wise those dates.
Yeah, absolutely. So commencement will be held here in the Yingling Center. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so you can kind of see where you get a little orientation. So this road down here is Fowler. So this is 50th Street. And so Genshaft Drive literally runs north and south. So campus recreation, you may have seen that on some of the admissions tours. The College of Business, the Moomla College of Business is here. So just for a little orientation of what we're looking at. And so I'm going to zoom back out now and just move us over here. So there literally, I believe, are at least 3 commencements on each time, with between 8,000 to 10,000 people per commencement is what the average is, as what I was talking with some of our colleagues. The parking will expand significantly beyond this lot 22. It will come down along Alumni Drive. It will move north along Genshaft. And so there are a number of areas that will be that our guests from off campus and our graduates will be using. So what I would recommend is still, no matter what, is to stay on the north side of Fletcher and on the west side of campus along Bruce B. Downs. This will be your greatest way to avoid much of the traffic, because a lot of the traffic that will come into the Yingling Center for commencement will be along Fowler Avenue, right? It'll either come in through our main entrance here down along Leroy Collins, or it'll be over here off of Bull Run and or 50th Street, which is a little cut off here, but is in this corner right here. And so they have very specific traffic patterns for those commencement ceremonies to get people in, parked, and to get people exited from the campus as quickly as possible. So if it is that you accidentally turn up 50th Street or you're on Fowler and I would encourage you to study the map, because once you get into that queue, it is almost impossible to get out. You may be sitting there for a long while traffic works its way through, and then maybe eventually the ceremony starts, and then you can exit out. But I would encourage you to stay on the north side of campus along Fletcher And then on the west side of campus along Bruce B. Downs, again, use Holly Drive to come into the middle, Magnolia, Palm. I probably would stay off of Genshaft if you can, but it's there are going to be a lot of lost people as well trying to find their way to the Yingling Center. So as with always in move in, be patient. It'll still be a great experience. We're still going to get you moved in, but I would do whatever you can to avoid this entire southeast corner of USF.
Great, thank you, Andy. So we've covered where you go if you're coming early, the day of grand opening, and then where you go after. Like we said, what we're looking at right now, this map, is on the Fall Move-In webpage. So it's linked throughout the webpage where it will say click here to view the map where your service desk locations and your check-in locations for grand opening if you're arriving that Thursday, Friday. So you do have access to this, and it will be sent directly to you in the move-in mailer in just a couple of weeks. So let's talk about, before we wrap up, a couple of things that I wanted to touch on. What you need to bring for check-in. So some people won't have their USF ID card yet. And so what will they need to bring in order to check in if they don't have that?
So at minimum, we need you to bring some form of ID. So whether it's a driver's license, whether it's your previous school ID, something to, passport that, says who you are. So we can at least get you at minimum a temporary ID card. But we really would like for you to have your USF ID card, if at all possible. And we do that by submitting your information today, right now. So. Mm-hmm.
And even if you do have your USF ID card, do you need your another form of identification to check in, or does your ID card suffice?
Your ID card suffices.
Okay.
So it has your picture on it, it has your name, it has your U number. That's what we're looking for.
Perfect. All right, so let's talk about the COVID screening process during check-in. Can you give an overview about what that's going to look like and what residents should expect?
Sure. So our residents who moved in the summer B know this experience, and it's not painful. We're not asking you to take a test, but what we will do is we have our partners from Student Health Services who will be requiring literally a one-page questionnaire that you'll need to fill out at the time of check-in. And so before you can actually receive your keys, you'll need to turn in that form with a student health services professional. And then specifically, I'm talking about Thursday and Friday, Sunday, Thursday, and Friday of move-in week. So, so it's a quick screening, have a quick conversation with the health professional, and then hopefully move you right on through the process. So very painless, very painless.
Great. And so they don't need to go anywhere to do that. They don't need to bring anything with them. They'll just arrive and
arrive and be ready to go with a good attitude.
All right,
so
wonderful.
We're going to start it off, and we're going to have great bowls, and we're going to have a great year.
Great. And if there is follow-up that's needed, we did have Dr. Puccio on the show just a couple of episodes ago, and he did say that if there's follow-up needed from that screening process, that the student will work directly with Student Health Services for their next step in their next course of action. Student Health Services has been awesome over the past year plus going through all the changes with COVID. So they will work directly with the student if there is anything needed from that student moving forward.
Absolutely.
All right. So if a student needs ADA accommodations for move-in, who should they contact and when do they need to do that?
So all of our buildings have ADA accessibility to enter the building, to maneuver up and down different floors. So if there is some kind of special accommodations, I would encourage you to reach out directly to us at housing@usf.edu so that we can make sure that we address your concerns or requests in a timely manner. But in my 8 years of moving students in here at USF, I don't think we've ever had any kind of issues. So, but if you are concerned, reach out to us. We'll try to help you work through it.
Great. So we have gotten through a lot of these questions, and I want to thank everyone who's watching and asking questions so much for joining us tonight. We got through a lot of them, and we also are going through and responding directly to some of the questions that can be supported with a web page or a link to learn more about that topic. But I did want to end off with one particular question from Pariah, who's asking, can we change our room if we didn't like it once we got to campus? So I wanted to talk to you briefly about what that room change process looks like, and then also kind of what you were talking about earlier about relationship building with your new roommate, some tips and advice for going into this semester, meeting new people and having that open mind. Do you think you could talk a little bit about that, Andy?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a really great question. Thank you for asking it. I think one of the things that you should know, as I started off our program with, was that we are very full. There will not be a lot of space once we open to move folks around. So I just kind of want to make sure I put that out there, that, I mean, we're going to be full. I mean, we're talking about, this is the type of full that we had in 2019. And so there's not a lot of space to move around. We'll do our best to help you. We typically do not do moves, room changes on move-in day, unless there is a major facilities issue that can't be addressed right away. And even then, it may be a temporary move into into an emergency space, and then we repair your space and then move it back. But our goal is always to have a perfect space ready for you to start your experience. But if it is that we are able to do our room change process because of space availability, we don't start that until about 2 weeks after the start of the term. That allows everybody to get in, get settled, get checked in. We double check our rosters to make sure everybody is in the spaces in which they were assigned. And then we look to do any kind of room changes if we can accommodate those requests. Those requests are always first come, first serve. We have a standard process already built in where the room change takes place on a Thursday through a Sunday. And so, we usually send out emails when we can do room changes or start entertaining requests for room changes. So I would just want to make sure I set those expectations. I think the other thing, going to your point, Julia, about engaging with your roommate early, is that, people are going to come from a variety of different backgrounds, have a variety of different life experiences that have led them to this point. I would encourage everybody to be open, listen with their heart about who their roommate is and what their experiences are, and be open and honest in communicating with them of what your needs are and what your experiences are, right? So for example, if it is that you're living in an apartment and the sink is always full of dirty dishes and it's absolutely driving you crazy and nobody's ever, have a conversation with your roommates and say, listen, this drives me nuts. I'm the one that's always doing them. I know that y'all are busy, but I need help, right? I can't continue to operate because it's putting stress on me, which is affecting my school and our relationship. And so just having very honest conversations with people is a critical thing. I think having expectations, and I know our partners in residential education do the roommate agreement.
Yeah, roommate agreement. I was going to mention.
Yeah, and that is an incredibly useful tool to start dialogue and to set those expectations. And so, really want to utilize that as you're within the first couple of days. So, but reach out to them earlier. Don't wait until you get to campus. Get to know someone you're getting ready to be living with for the next academic year. Before the start of the school. So.
Absolutely. And Andy, do you have any other, you said that you've been here for 8 years now, so you've seen a lot of move-ins, and you've helped transition a lot of students to the college experience. Do you have any additional tips or advice for families and students that are preparing for this move-in process?
You know, Julia, we're at about an hour, and I've been talking about just one thing. Move-in tips. That's a whole other show.
Do you have another hour?
Yeah, I got another hour. I don't know if our audience does, but you know, I would say the biggest thing with move-in is, you know, there are times when, you know, mom or dad or family member, grandma, grandpa, whoever it is helping you move in, you know, they're like, oh, let's take a picture together, and you're like, oh, seriously? But you know what? It's a picture. It's a memory. This is only going to happen once, right? You're only, especially for our new students, you're only going to move into your very first college hall once. Embrace it. Be open to, you know, stepping a little bit outside your comfort zone, right? Yes, people are going to be looking at you, but you know what? There are other people's family members, brothers, sisters, friends, whatever. They're going to be like, hey, man, let's get a selfie at the same time, right? So you're not alone.
Oh, no. I've seen it all. I've seen Facebook Lives, parents going live on Facebook about it. Like, it's definitely an experience. You're so right to embrace it and capture those moments.
Absolutely. And you know what? You know, and I think back to my mom, and I think she'd like absolutely come unglued if I told her this. But, you know, she was so stoic the entire move-in process for me when I was going to college. And I lived in Virginia. We moved down here to Florida to go to school. And she didn't say a word, but my dad said a couple days later on the phone, he says, your mom literally cried, like almost through Georgia, right? So that's a good 5 or 6 hours. So, you know, students, you know, it's hard on parents. Make sure you love them.
And everyone handles it differently too. I mean, you would have never known that, you know.
No, I wouldn't have. You know, because my mom wanted it to be the best experience for me. And so, you know, just make sure, you know, you hug them a little tighter, you know, make sure you text them, you know, that first night, let them know you're okay. I think that's always a great thing. I think as far as like, you know, actually engaging in the experience, make sure you wear comfortable shoes, make sure you wear sunblock. It's hot. And so let's make sure that you're taking care of yourselves as well.
Great advice. Bring water. We have refillable water stations, but bring them and be prepared for maybe rain. Rain for sure. I think it rained every day of last year's move-in. But you know what? Embrace and soak up every single moment of your move-in experience. It's once in a lifetime. Absolutely. Well, that's great advice. Thank you, Andy. And thanks for taking the extra time tonight to answer all of these questions and spend the time going through that process. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no, I absolutely love it. You know, as I said earlier, we're here to serve. And no matter, I mean, it's 8:30 Eastern time right now. And if we needed to go till 10 or 11, I would do it, right? Our residents are that important to us.
Well, speaking of continuing, we do have more time that we're going to be spending with our audience. I know this is the season finale of Housing Live, but next week, if you are part of the St. Pete campus community, we are going to be going live next Wednesday, walking through their move-in process, and that's going to be on the St. Pete Housing's Facebook page. And then in 2 weeks, so 2 weeks from today, Andy and I will be walking through the move-in process. All of those locations that we just looked at on a map, we're going to be physically walking through them so you can visualize what you're going to experience for move-in. So I don't have that date in front of me, but I know it's 2 weeks from today. We'll be posting it on Facebook and our other social media channels so that everyone can join us for that. So Andy, thank you again, and I really appreciate you taking the time, and we will see you back on Facebook Live in just a couple of weeks.
Whoop, whoop. I can't wait. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Good night, Andy.
Good night.
So if you have more questions about living on campus at USF, please email us at housing@usf.edu or call us at 813-974-0001. This is the season finale of USF Housing Live, Season 7. Thank you so much for everyone who has joined us throughout the season. We'll be back next spring with Season 8 of USF Housing Live. Until then, be sure to keep up with us on our social media channels and our website for more live Q&As and updates throughout the year. USF Housing Live is produced by Housing and Residential Education at the University of South Florida in Tampa. Our motto is best place to live, best place to work, best place to learn. Thank you to tonight's guests for joining me this evening. Thank you to our production crew, to you, our viewers, and of course, there's always just one last thing. Go Bulls! Good night, everyone.